Question number 6, Christopher Luxon.
Thank you, Mr Speaker. My question is to the Prime Minister and reads, does she stand by her statement about entrenching a provision of the Water Services Entities Bill that, quote, we accept a mistake has been made, quote, and if so, when did she realise it was a mistake?
The Right Honourable Prime Minister.
Mr Speaker, yes, I stand by my statement. In answer to the second part of the member's question, Cabinet determined it would resolve the issue at the first Cabinet meeting that was held after the Committee of the Whole.
When was she first made aware that her government was supporting a provision to entrench parts of the Three Waters legislation?
Mr Speaker, as I believe I've already referred to in the public domain, I was obviously made aware after the vote was taken. Mr Speaker, though, what I would also state is that I also stand by, however, our government's position that the privatisation of water assets is something that we're strongly opposed to. Regardless of the debate that's currently being had about a mechanism of entrenchment provisions, I would encourage the member to give due consideration to the letter that we've issued him today, seeking for the National Party's commitment to not privatise these incredibly important assets.
Why, as the Prime Minister and Chair of Cabinet, was the embedding of an entrenchment clause in a deeply unpopular piece of legislation, quote, not something I'd necessarily be aware of, quote?
Mr Speaker, the member needs to put the context around that quote. I was asked whether or not I had seen the SOP. I would ask the member whether or not every single amendment to every single bill that is put up by the opposition or the Greens or by ACT is something that are routinely examined. Mr Speaker, I did not see the SOP, but nor would I expect to, Mr Speaker.
Is it acceptable that neither Minister Mahuta nor any other minister failed to tell her about the entrenchment provision before her government passed it?
Mr Speaker, I refer to every public statement that I've made on this matter regarding the consideration of entrenchment, and then I come back to ultimately the House coming back today to consider the issue. We agree it is a mistake and it will be removed.
Does she think it's appropriate to force through both a major confiscation of local water assets and significant changes to our constitutional conventions under urgency?
Mr Speaker, I totally disagree with the characterisation of that question. It is utterly, factually wrong.
Was her government's attempt to entrench part of her unpopular Three Waters reforms a sign of incompetence or arrogance or both?
Mr Speaker, again, I also disagree with the characterisation. The entrenchment provision related only to the privatisation of assets. On the principle of the privatisation of assets, we are totally opposed. My question is the National Party